I me recording stuff. Um, I was I was going to say that the shaman that earlier talk, according to the article, or I mean according to Unreported World, which is a channel on YouTube, that it was the belief that this shaman, this lady who is performing these ritual acts to try to cure these people of diabetes, what she was really what she was really treating was the stress. What she's trying to do is she's trying to comfort people who have diabetes, and as a result of arguments and the stress that comes from arguments, it would trigger a heart attack. And what causes heart attacks in diabetics is um, in their system, the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin to tell the organs to eat up the sugar that's in the bloodstream. And so, because the insulin is the messaging system that tells the organs to absorb the sugar that's in the bloodstream. If the sugar ends up in the bloodstream too long, it wears on the vessels, it creates lesions. And the way the body deals with that is by covering it up with cholesterol. Because you can't solve this problem with platelets because the platelets are in the blood, and so the blood's rushing by at 200 miles per hour. This is what um, people know of the heart is that it's a really strong pump, and it's pushing this blood through your system really fast, so fast that it causes you to balloon up and cause erections and things like that. It's a very effective at that, and so you need something harder than the platelets to deal with healing the blood vessels, and so it covers it up with cholesterol, and that causes atherosclerosis, the clogging the arteries with the cholesterol. And all it takes is something super stressful, and some of that breaks off and causes a clogged artery, and it'll kill somebody. And so she's probably has noticed from what people tell her of what causes people to die, which is the heart attacks. And she probably asked them what they were doing before, and they were arguing. And so she's just trying to calm people, trying to comfort them, and telling them not to get into arguments, otherwise they're going to die. And so she doesn't understand what diabetes is a long-term illness. She's treating a short-term illness, and that is what causes the heart attacks. And it's also probably the case that she doesn't have enough trust in the healthcare industry. The people that she's treating are so poor they can't even support their own healthcare, and so they look to her to solve the problem. And this is the only way that she can do it. Also, she probably doesn't have enough of an education to even understand what diabetes is, and even for people who have diabetes, it's a confusing medical condition, because insulin, and they don't understand the relationship between insulin and blood sugar. And I was probably telling you about how somebody who was um, um, into self preservation through using biotechnology to make themselves better. That in Alt Space VR, there was a number of people that came together to discuss this sort of thing, and the person that they used as an example of using biotechnology to make his life better was using a glucose monitor. And I asked him, so what kind of diabetes do you have? And he says, I don't have diabetes. And I thought, this guy doesn't understand it, but he's actually preventing his pancreas from producing enough. I mean, the organs are going without sugar. And he said, I don't feel good most of the time. I really don't feel good. And obviously because the organs are not are not, they're they're working with less. I mean, it's that you spend most of the time not taking in carbohydrates or not taking in fat, and it's possible that he's starting to burn muscle, because that's what happens whenever you are not taking in carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates would produce the fat. He's probably not eating fat, and so it's possible that he's actually doing damage to his muscles. So it's just silly that people get into such binds, um, and people were quick to judge her, but you have to look into the backstory to figure out if she really is malicious or if she's um, responding to what she can see is the problem, what she thinks is the problem, not what we think is the problem, because we're better educated. We know that diabetes has to do with the pancreas. She doesn't believe that because she's treating what she sees as the real effect of people dying